Hey everybody, welcome to the Mr. Pod Show. Today I'm joined by Nathan, aka Rat Casket on Twitter, and we're going to talk some indie dev and probably say some things that are going to get me in trouble. How are you doing tonight?
I'm tired, but I'm good.
Yeah,
Good.
I relate to that.
Didn't you just wake up?
I don't remember the last time I wasn't tired, but yeah, I woke up, let's say, I guess 30 minutes ago. And yeah, I had to roll out of my daughter's bed because I sit down with her and I put my hand on her back and I say, "Hey, so go to sleep now." And then she slowly pulls my arm until I'm laying down, and I always fall asleep. Uh, so then I solid snake out of the bed, like try not to creak too much, but it's like an IKEA piece of shit, so it cracks. And then she wakes up like instantly every time, and I'm like, "Bitch, you're dreaming. Go back to sleep."
Yeah, you shouldn't have had a kid. You fucked up.
I know, I know. If you're gonna buy IKEA furniture, you pretty much shouldn't be a parent. But
I just don't think you should be a parent. Not anyone. You specifically probably shouldn't be.
yeah, okay. I mean, if you want to expound on that, you're more
I don't.
than you're more than welcome to.
Nope.
Well,
Anyone who follows you on Twitter knows what I'm talking about.
yeah. Well, yeah. And there are a lot of people that talk to me on Twitter like that's a real person. But Twitter is not real people. That's like thinking that TV is real people.
Oh, yeah, Twitter is the fucking worst. Like talking to people on Twitter has got to be the most awful social network experience ever.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to tell dumb jokes, and there are people that like think that's a real person that gets up and like I like go to the office and I tell them really stupid jokes,
Right.
and that's not a thing that you can do.
Well, and then people just get pissed off every time, no matter what.
Yeah.
And there's no middle ground on Twitter ever. It's always you're the greatest person ever, or I hope you fucking die.
Yeah.
'Cause you can't have a middle ground in 140 characters or less. It's
Yeah,
impossible.
and it definitely carries over. There's such a huge game development community on Twitter, and because of the nature of Twitter is like everybody is hyped all the time. If they know about something, they're like, "I'm gonna buy 8 copies," when they talk about it. But that's not real because nobody's real.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know like so people make all these games and they have all these ideas and they think that they're going to be successful and they release based on what people on Twitter say. And then like it never
And
works
then
out.
they sell 20 copies,
Yeah,
even though their 20,000 Twitter followers all said that they would buy it.
yeah, and they don't. uh,
No, of course not.
you make a game and you
Fucking buy
actually
video games.
you make a game where you like show boob because you think
Ah,
it's going to work and it doesn't,
right.
and then all you've done is make a game where you showed boob.
Or you make a game that shows boob and then you get praised probably for being so brave
Oh, so brave.
or some shit like that.
It's so
And then,
brave.
then you just piggyback off of showing half a boob for the rest of your career.
All those college girls at parties are so brave.
Oh, so brave.
So, I mean, they're
Like
just
if
too
I'll get brave in here right now.
All right, this motherfucker. All right, Mr. A Wolf. Yeah, Andrew Gilmore, the guy that makes that's working on Slain. He's in here
Oh,
and he's talking shit. And
well, the guy.
every time he
Well, let
says
me tell you
anything,
some shit about Slain. It fucking looks awful
oh come on,
graphically. It's
that,
the noisiest fucking game I've ever seen in my life.
that's mean.
It doesn't matter.
You
It's my
know,
opinion.
Andrew is a very talented, talented artist, and I think it's
Listen,
obvious.
listen. I'm sure he's great. I think that's the busiest fucking game I've ever seen in my life.
It's
And every time I look at it, it hurts physically.
hey, it's a style. But I
Well,
was let me digress because every time he ever says anything to me now, it's like you're a fake game dev. I don't know if he like drinks and then gets mad.
Oh,
And then he says some shit to me on Twitter, and it's like I don't know where it's coming from. I love you, Andrew. You're a nice guy. You look like you're from Metalocalypse a little bit, but that's fine.
does he look like the main character? That'd be fucking dope.
No, he's got like the long beard, and
Oh, oh, the main character doesn't have a beard.
does he not? I thought he was like a blonde guy
I think he has white hair.
or white hair, maybe. Oh, I
Yeah,
don't know.
I don't know. I can barely tell what the fuck I'm looking at in that game half the time.
Oh, I wasn't talking about the game. I was talking about the cartoon.
Oh, oh, no, no, no. Um, Nathan Explosion. Now he looks like the fucking lead singer of Cannibal Corpse,
Oh
which
yeah.
is just long black hair.
Well, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and now, what'd you say his name was? Andrew?
Yeah.
Andrew's mad at me. He said, "So you think my game is shit?"
Um,
Like, oh, here we go.
People are just gonna say things, and
Yeah, that's fine. Oh well.
it's important that this isn't Twitter, so you say
No.
whatever. Nobody's gonna remember this tomorrow.
Right. Well, I don't give a fuck anyway.
Okay. So I'm dying. Do you want to talk about Kerfuffle? I think the last time we talked about it was a very different game. It has squares.
Jesus, did it only have squares
It was
then?
just squares, and I think at one point I was responsible for some of the squares.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. So since then, it has art. We put some art in it, and we put a build together, and it was like the worst game. Oh my God, I don't know if you played it, but
I didn't.
oh, okay. So in like August or September, we put out a build, and it was fucking abysmal because no one had played it but me, because it's local multiplayer game that I'm developing by myself.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, this stuff these are good ideas. This will work." And then it was an actual abortion. I'll post the video in the chat so people can see what it was. But then we took like 2 or 3 months off, and I didn't work on it. Martin didn't work on it, and I kind of just redesigned it a little bit, and we put it back together. It's much faster now. It's a much better product. We kind of cut down on the overall size of the arenas and the complexity of the game a little bit. And now I think it's really, really good.
Yeah.
And I do need people to play it. So if anyone wants to play it, just tweet at me and I will give you the build that's in it now.
So
But
your artist, you say Martin? Is it Worcester sauce? I don't.
uh,
Do you even know his name? You're working with the guy.
yeah, I have him on Skype. Martin Worcester.
Worshmark.
Worister, but the O has the dots above it. And I don't know what the fuck that's called, but he lives in Austria, so he pronounces it however the fuck you're supposed to pronounce it.
I can't say enough positive things about that guy's design aesthetic. Like the way that everything he draws looks, I am just in love with it.
Yeah, I don't know where he came from, why he decided to work with me.
It's like from another planet where they draw fucking awesome shit.
it doesn't make any sense. If it wasn't for him, the game would be nothing.
Yeah.
Like it would be okay, it wouldn't be nothing. It would have been done a year ago and it would have had your art in it. And no one would have bought it because I wouldn't even have sold it. I would have just put it up for free somewhere.
Yeah, my art a year ago was not very good. But just keep plugging away, kids.
That guy said that dots are umlauts. I
Yeah,
thought an
umlaut.
umlaut was specifically the U.
Oh yeah.
Is that the case?
I don't know. I mean, I was kind of on your side on that one.
Well, I'm not gonna look it up. I don't care.
Somebody asked me what the little squiggly line that you put over the N was, and I just posted that Inya song.
Oh, I would have just said El Nino
Yeah.
and posted that fucking
Who
Chris
can
Farley.
say where the road goes? I don't really know. I mean, I have like 4 semesters of college Spanish, but despite my name, I'm not Hispanic. And at all.
Why is that your name anyway?
Well, let me
Because
tell you,
it's not your Earth name.
this dates back to Mr. Pod episode 1, actually. And my original co-host, Ryan, um, he's still talking about, okay. Ryan was an interesting guy. He's from California, but because I'm from Texas, he started calling me Miguel because my name is Michael.
Oh.
And I guess because I'm not small, he called me Miguelito, which is like ironic. It's like little Michael, I guess.
Oh, okay.
So I just went with it. I thought it was funny, and that is now me to everyone. More people know me as that than know me like in real life.
Yeah, I mean your Skype isn't even Mike or Michael or whatever the hell you go by in the real world.
Yeah. Well, there's a creepiness factor to people knowing who you are.
Is there?
Yeah. Well, when I was streaming a few weeks ago, well, it was probably a couple months ago. Somebody who had my name looked up my home address and was like posting
Oh, Jesus.
Google Map street views of my house in the chat, and it's just kind of like I'm just watching what's going on here. There's a flame war happening right now.
Well, whatever. He's just fucking mad, and I don't care.
No, I'm telling you, you're arguing with a very talented painter and artist.
No, I believe it.
And I
I
think
abs-
I think especially in the backgrounds of Slain, you definitely see that come through.
I absolutely 100% believe it.
And you have to
And it's
wonder if issues that you're having might be because of GIF compression.
and no, it's not. But and the quality of Slain is like hundreds of millions of times better than anything I'll ever be able to do in my life. But I still think it looks bad. And now he's screaming at me, even though I just told him that I don't do art. That he wants to see my art.
Well, you're allowed to think whatever you want to think, I guess.
Right.
Uh,
Whatever.
but yeah, I mean, I totally relate to working on something for a while, and just having to take a step back. I mean, for the longest time, I was working on a platformer, and every day I would get on Twitter or I would get on Tigs, and I would think like, is what I'm doing better than what other people are doing that are doing the same thing? And it wasn't. I mean,
Oh, are you talking about Chicken
I
Sword?
was.
as a
Yeah, I'm
platformer?
talking about Chicken Sword.
Okay.
When I was originally messing with it, it was kind of a joke to begin with. So I thought, what's the easiest kind of game to make? Yeah, and I think platform was probably it.
Dude, I don't know. Platformers are kind of hard when you don't know anything about programming.
Yeah, but if you're talking about, I mean, I consider ease, Google ease, in terms of if you need to learn how to
Oh,
do something, you could definitely find out how to make every aspect of a platformer on Google, like real
yeah,
quickly.
that's pretty true.
When I was trying to figure out how to do, like parabolic bounce arcs in a 2.5D environment, it was a little bit harder to find because really
Yeah,
there's not a lot
para-
of people doing it.
parabolic bounce arcs.
Yeah. Well,
When you say 2.5D, do you mean like the top-down kind of
yeah,
stuff?
yeah, like
Oh, okay.
Zelda
Oh,
perspective.
okay. So like adding a Z-axis to that and having it look right.
Yeah, totally fake fictional z-axis that's actually your
Yeah.
y-axis, but has to keep track of like its actual position versus its projected position.
Right.
And then how to make I didn't do well in math in school because I didn't really understand why I would need to know how to do math. And so I've learned a lot of math recently, and having been a programmer for a long time, and never had to really do any significant math other than like placement math of you take the full size minus whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I'd ever use it, but game development, math is important.
Oh, yeah. See, I think my problem was like in school, math was not presented in an interesting way at all. So it was just like, here's what you have to know. Here's what I'm teaching you. Fuck you. Here's how you do it. And it was never like, what's the logical application of this? And if someone would have said like, uh, X and Y axis is actually super important because video games, I guarantee I would have like
Yes.
Worked up. I failed math my junior year. Which one's the third year? Junior? Yeah. So I
Yeah.
I
It
failed.
sounds like you failed something else too, like genealogy or whatever. I don't know.
I don't think they teach
Yeah,
years of high school.
years.
Anyway, so my junior year, I had math at like 8 in the morning. So I just came in and went to sleep, and then I would like wake up and read what was on the board and do the assignment and get, like whatever pretty decent grades on it. And then our teacher got pregnant,
Oh God.
or well, she was pregnant. She had her baby, and then we had a substitute for 6 months, and he never taught us anything. So I was still just like sleeping in class, but he wouldn't write anything on the board.
Oh God.
So when I would wake up, there'd be nothing to do, and I just fucking failed. So totally failed math my junior year, and it was like the lowest level. What's the dumbest math I could possibly fucking take because I don't care, and still failed.
Oh God.
And then in I don't think I had to. I wasn't required to take math my senior year at all.
Yeah.
So all I had to do was make up my failed credits in math. So I still sometimes have to look up like how do you find the fucking percent of one number from another number, or like
Yeah. Yeah. Or
it's
like,
two negatives equal a positive what?
well, and like, I was just thinking, when I started with Unity, and I was, everything runs on slopes instead of, with Game Maker, it's like you set a direction and it's as simple as can be, 360 degrees, and then you go a speed at that direction.
Yeah.
Uh, well, in Unity, you actually have to set your direction as a vector two, which would be an x and
Oh,
y, and then multiply
yeah.
that by, first you normalize it, and then you multiply it by speed. And I was trying to like deduct the slope based on that stuff, and I had no idea what sine and cosine were for. It's basically just that's what those are for.
I still don't. I
Yeah,
still have no fucking idea how to use sine or cosine. And I'll ask
yeah,
people stuff all the time. Like, hey man, I want to do this thing. I want my stuff to go like this. And they're like, just do sine. I'm like, yeah, I don't fucking
yeah.
how?
Sine
How?
sine
Like,
wave,
yeah, like
whatever,
okay, I can
whatever
type
that means.
SIN, but then what?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
what's the rest of it?
And it's interesting because if it had been taught to me in such a way to where it was like, I think my algebra teachers in algebra would have been like middle school, but they were basically just like,
No, that was high school for me.
oh well, yeah.
Dude, in Missouri, the schools are probably very different.
Well, you take different levels of classes based on how smarty pants the teachers think you are.
Oh
So
yeah, when I was in grade school or middle school, my eighth grade math teacher was like, "You need to take the super hard high smart guy math because you're gonna do great at it." And I said, "Fuck that! I'm gonna take baby math and pass it, and then not have to do anything while I'm in school."
yeah, well, they're basically just teaching you how to use a calculator in high school, but they don't teach you the theory behind the math, which is really what I missed and why I didn't
Right.
understand it, because I was just like, I know that when you have to solve this, you punch it into the calculator this way, but I didn't really understand like the practical applications. And the teachers were like, oh, you don't need to actually know algebra for the future. Now, algebra is probably the thing that you need to know the most for future careers. Like, if you're in school now, algebra is probably the most important math,
Oh yeah.
next to maybe geometry. But it, yeah, it's like people are going to be programming at higher rates than ever going forward, and algebra is extremely important to understanding how programming works. And they just didn't explain it that way. They just said, "Well, y'all are just going to need to know how to punch it into the calculator because it's some old lady teaching it who doesn't, who just learned how to use email."
Right.
Uh,
Well, yeah, I did.
and also, I was in school a little bit earlier than you. Our computer science teacher was a converted janitor, so
Oh, Jesus
they
Christ.
they found a guy that knew how to write
What,
code
what's
in
what's that? like stereotypical. I think it might be from a movie, it might not be, but it gets made fun of all the time. Where like the janitor's sweeping and there's some unsolvable math problem
Oh,
on the board.
that's Goodwill Hunting.
Oh, is it Good Will Hunting? Okay,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but maybe that was the situation.
Yeah.
Maybe that
No.
movie's about him.
The thing is, it's not because he wasn't good at it. Because if you're a good programmer, you're not working in a school. Because
Oh,
you can
yeah,
make more money doing literally any other thing. So he knew just enough to teach it out of a book. But you could tell, he would be eyeballing trash on the ground in a class. You could tell he was like wishing for the old days sometimes.
yeah,
super, super weird. But we're talking about days long past.
yeah. Like I graduated high school. What's today? Like 8 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2003 for me.
Oh, hang on, I am linking. I'm still like sending the podcast link out to people because I
Well,
was just telling a friend of mine how I pissed off the Slane guy, and I thought it was funny.
oh, well, they missed all the good parts.
Yeah, it's recorded though. It'll be recorded.
Yeah, well, the conversation won't be recorded. I might post it. Just
Oh, yeah. That's quality entertainment.
Jesus. Well, that bridge is burned.
Yeah. Oh, fuck it. Who cares? His game will do good.
It was almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. Me talking about how he gets drunk and then says shit to me like
Oh,
mockingly,
yeah.
and then it's like that's exactly what was happening to him at the time, and he just like was not taking it well at all.
Well, he said he got drunk and says things, so I assumed he was drunk and saying things, so I just told him to fuck off.
Well, maybe he
Whatever.
won't remember, but he also could have been like totally sober.
Yeah. Oh
Uh,
well. Who fucking cares?
Whatever. Anyway,
So what's going on with Chicken Sword? Are you even still doing that?
I answered this
No, wait,
question.
you're doing dodgeball time. Sorry.
Yeah, I answer this question a lot, and one of the beauties of writing C# as opposed to GML is everything that I've written for dodgeball is inherited. It's all the same code base.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's the same perspective, and everything that I've done so far, with the exception of really specific things, is going to be basically ported right back into it. I just wanted to have a project that I could finish,
Mm.
and one of the biggest issues starting off is, aesthetically, you improve so quickly, and with a project like Chicken Sword that had such a large scope, I had to redesign it like 5 times because I hated what I had done.
Oh, like redesign the art a bunch of times.
Yeah, I'm not
I
talking.
remember you doing
Yeah,
that.
even from just a purely superficial standpoint, I hated everything that I had done,
Hmm.
and so I decided to go with something a little smaller scope, and get the networking all set up, which is it's all working real nice. And it's match based, so I don't have to worry about gigantic world building problems.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can push that off to a later day. But one of the things I have been working on is projectile scripting for super throws, which are definitely going to come in handy. Because
So, what's a super throw?
well, in this dodgeball game, and much like Super Dodgeball for the NES, each character has a scripted throw that's
Mhm.
once your power bar goes up to a certain amount, you could do like a throw that penetrates enemies, or a throw that goes straight up into the air and then cluster bombs down, or
Oh, okay. I
theoretically
gotcha.
an infinite number. As creative as I can get, that's how many
Right. Okay.
there are going to be. So that was going to go into the egg mechanic for whenever you shoot
Oh,
an
right.
egg, it could be like a homing missile, or it could be like a grenade or whatever.
Hmm.
So it's not wasted work, and that's one of the reasons I'm liking Unity. One of the reasons I'm not is because I fucking hate Unity.
I thought you really liked it a month
No,
ago.
I mean, if you're doing a 2D game, I think Game Maker is just far superior at rendering in 2D, mostly just because it doesn't operate on float math, like it's all integer based.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you rarely get like graphical glitches when you're panning pixels in Game Maker like you would in Unity, and even if you fix everything, it still feels really artificial. And I'm trying to figure it all out, but
Yeah, there's some weird kind of feeling that I get. Like you can definitely tell when a 2D game is Unity for some
Yeah.
reason.
Well, it's because it's a 3D engine, so you're just making like three-dimensional flat objects on top of each other.
Right,
Uh,
but I personally don't know why it feels so fucked up because I don't know enough about it.
yeah. Well, a lot of the reason is going to be because it's the same reason why people make shitty game maker games. It's because they use the physics engine instead of like kind of
Oh,
writing it themselves. So you get
I
a lot of
gotcha.
glidiness,
Mm-hmm.
and it just is not good. Like it
Yeah,
doesn't
okay.
feel like a video game. It feels like a sliding game. you know.
Yeah, it's like physics-based platformers, every one of them sucks.
Yeah, I can't even think of any off the top of my
Uh,
head.
Little Big Planet is a physics-based platformer that mostly fucking sucks.
Yeah.
What's that new game that's coming out with the fucking awful main character? Unraveled, where you're like a yarn man,
I
which looks like a cool game, but it's completely physics-based, so I don't expect it to be super great. Super Meat Boy is not physics-based, which someone in the chat just typed. Um, Limbo kind of is,
yeah.
and Limbo's a little janky because of it. Um,
Yeah, I mean, just if you look at all the classics and the expected results, like Mega Man X physics, clearly not real physics,
right.
and that's why
Yeah.
it's good,
Yeah,
because
it's fun.
they did it in such a way where they could predict the outcomes with 100% accuracy. Where when you're using floating point math, it's different on every computer every time you run a calculation. So if you're doing a physics based platformer, you can't have pixel perfect accuracy as well in terms of like jumping and so you got to make everything like not perfect, which is
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of any game that's primarily physics based that hasn't been a complete shit show.
being Angry Birds.
Okay, there's one.
That's pretty much the one.
I guess Wii Bowling. That's probably physics based somewhat.
It may be.
Uh, but
I'm
no, like any game that uses like tries to use simulated real world physics for shit like character movement and stuff like that, or puzzles, God forbid.
Well, I could do a shout out because have you seen Punch's Bears project?
Oh, yes.
That shit
And
looks it looks
that's like the
awesome.
perfect physics game because it's like physics are retarded and we know that. So here's a retarded game about retarded physics.
Yeah, and it's amazing just
Yeah.
because you know it's way better than having to animate everything like a million different ways. But
Oh, yeah. Someone said Besiege, which
oh
is a
yeah,
really good physics game, and that's kind of like an Angry Birds type thing. I mean, it's obviously way more complicated than that, but you know what
yeah.
I mean? It's just like
I just have
blocks
a
of blocks of shit
I
like
just
hitting
have a
each other.
problem with physics puzzle games because the solutions aren't perfect. You can't predict like this isn't the correct solution. This is just what worked this time. Uh,
Yeah,
so
that
like
that.
you might hit a wall and it does something completely different. Yeah,
Hmm.
but I'd
And
much rather.
that's what that Unraveled game is all about. I think is using the yarn in certain ways and like tying stuff together, and it's all physics based, and I can just see it frustrating the fuck out of me. But I really want to play it, so I'm probably gonna do that and just be mad.
What was the name of that bridge game? Poly Bridge.
Oh yeah, see that's another good one where it's like, yep, physics are dumb.
Yeah, but
So
it's not a platformer. Like these are all games that are basically games built around the idea that physics is hilarious.
right,
Physics
and
are
not around.
hilarious. Is it are? Kerbal
Phys-
Space Program.
Physics is hilarious.
Physics do hilarious.
I think it probably be is right because if like because physics, if you say like chemistry, you don't say like chemistry are hilarious. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I
But
guess.
there's no S. So what like chemistries?
It's
Chemistries is sounds stupid.
we're solving all the world's problems here
Chemistries
on Mr.
are.
Pod today.
This is why it takes so long for me to make video games. Because halfway through programming something like this, what if chemistries was plural? What if
Yeah,
chemistry was plural?
chemistries.
Oh, yeah, a world of goo. someone said.
Yeah. I do have an issue where I don't really play many games, and so I have a lot, especially recently. Like I could name games from my childhood all day, but I don't know most indie games. I have a lot of friends now on Twitter, and I consider them friends because I interact with them all the time. You know, more than I do with people in real life. But I don't know what their games are. like,
Oh yeah, there's I don't have that kind of time.
uh, and a lot of them are great. You know, I see them all the time, and I'm like, "You did that? Wow!" You know, it's just I
There's
I'm running into the problem, and we discussed it in the last time we talked. And I think you had like 3,000 followers, and I had like 150.
yeah.
And like, I wake up every morning, and Twitter doesn't even say the notifications; it just says like 50 plus.
Yeah, I see that all the time.
And
They're just like, if we stop counting, who
yeah,
gives a fuck?
I try and respond to everybody, and that's always been something that I want to do. I want to make sure that regardless, you know, the smallest most mundane question, unless it's just bullshit trolling, I want to reply to it. And I just don't. There's not enough time in the day anymore. I,
Yeah, well, I just assume everyone's trolling and don't respond to anybody.
yeah. Well,
There's some people that like they wear me down because they respond to so much stuff,
yeah.
and then usually I just tell them to fuck off.
I think you're describing me.
Well, I have less followers. I don't have as many gifts to tweet.
Oh God.
Dude, I'm surprised at how effective that is.
It's surprisingly effective
Yeah.
for some people. Other people, you know, we can move on. I think the next topic, and I talk about this like every episode, but it's like if you want people to like what you're doing, then
Mhm.
make good shit.
Yeah,
You know, because you can post gifs all day long. People say, "Oh, you post a lot of gifs, and that's why." But it's like if I was posting gifs of some of the stuff I'm seeing, then it wouldn't work.
yeah. If you were posting bad gifs, like
Yeah,
if the stuff you're posting was shitty, then
garbage
of
gifs.
course, yeah, like you wouldn't get followed. But
Uh,
because there are people that do that, and I see them all the time,
Yeah, and then
and I
there's the
follow.
there's the other tactic that I see, where I'll get a DM and it's like, "I'm a new developer. Can you look at my company site and then tell me, you know, retweet stuff that you like?"
Oh, that
Uh,
happened to me the other day,
yeah,
and
was it Black Tower?
it might have been because I think you messaged me and you said you got tricked or some shit.
Yeah, I see stuff from them every time, and it's like this person who sent me a message was like, "I'm a young Russian girl developer," and it's like when you list that
Oh
many
yeah, and
things,
she's like hot as fuck.
yeah, when you
Like
say, like, yes, here are all these specific things about me that have nothing to do with game development, I pretty much
right.
knew right then I was being manipulated.
The only reason I went and retweeted stuff is because I actually liked the stuff.
Yeah, but there's no telling if that's actually theirs or if it's just a scheme.
Yeah, that's true. Because I want to help people out and I want to retweet things that I think are cool because it always pisses me off when someone, like if I tweet something and someone just favorites it,
Oh
it's like,
yeah,
"Why- help me out, man.
that's
Show some other people." But that never,
favoriting is almost always sarcastic, or it's evidence that like I acknowledge that I've seen this and I want you to know that I saw it, but I also want you to know that it's not good enough. Like
right.
push it
I
to the
would
next
retweet
level.
this, but no.
It's such a fucked up situation.
And I get so mad when I see people post, like, okay, there's someone that I follow and they are a great person. Their games are really bad, but they look nice. And by nice, I mean they don't look super great. The art direction isn't all that great, but they got some nice colors in there and it's cute. Like, it's the current state of indie games where everyone's riding that Nintendo wave, you know,
Yeah.
because everyone grew up with Nintendo, so they're like, fuck it, well, I'll just clone Nintendo games and then panic when they don't sell. So, but they just get so much attention for it. So much. Like thousands of retweets and favorites on some of these things. And
Well,
like their
because
games get thousands of downloads. It's like for fuck's sake, man. Like I can't get anyone to play Kerfuffle.
you
And it
can't
looks
say, I mean, you can't say why your game is good in a tweet. There's just not enough space.
right.
So you have to figure out a way to portray what you're working on. And this is the same with Kickstarter. It's the same with doing a green light. I mean, people are going to read about 10 words. And if they don't see a picture or if they don't see something in those 10 words that makes them identify with that, they're moving on.
Right.
So something could be great, but if you spend time, explaining all the technical details, they're already looking at, the next Earthbound-like, which is
Oh, for fuck's sake.
a big popular thing people are doing now. And
Yeah.
I don't dislike it. I think the aesthetic is interesting. There are some people like Knuckle Sandwich actually seems to be pushing that aesthetic a little further.
Doesn't that game look beautiful?
It looks great. I mean, and
So good.
the music sounds great, and everything about it, totally strikes me as unique.
Right.
But there are other people that learn the wrong lessons, and they say, "I'm going to look at Undertale, and I'm going to make a game that looks like that." And that's the reason why they were successful. But that's the wrong lesson. The lesson is to make things that you think are good, and not worry so much about everything else. Because
I really wanted to make a black and white, like 1-bit game for a long time now. But now if I do it, it's gonna be like, oh, you fucking copied Undertale. Like, fuck.
Yeah, you can't get around that comparison.
No.
I mean, the game's at almost 1 million sold, if not 1 million by now.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think the day it released, Toby Fox woke up in his parents' basement and had really no idea what he was about to accomplish. But I mean, that's been what? Has there been a more successful indie game than that this year?
Well, last year you mean?
Oh yeah, sure.
I would say no.
In terms of
Even
profit
if
distribution.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I would say no, even if something did sell more copies. Like, this was made by one guy, so
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
$10 million, I guess.
Yeah. Well, he only gets 70%.
Oh,
of that.
7 million. Fuck
Yeah.
me, right? Like,
Yeah, like he can only retire twice. He can't retire
Yeah.
4 times.
can only yeah.
That's such a great thing, though. I mean, I love
Fuck.
seeing that, especially
Yeah.
for somebody that really seems to enjoy what they're doing so much. Because he's going to go on and make something else that he doesn't give a shit.
Oh yeah.
He's not gonna say, okay, I'm gonna take this and push it to the next level, or I'm gonna make Undertale 2. He's probably just gonna say, what's the next thing that sounds fun, and do that.
Right.
And I think people like that should be successful at least once, so that they can do that for the rest of their life.
He really should continue to be successful forever if he has that attitude about it.
Hopefully,
I think he definitely deserves it.
but there's always the opportunity, or there's always the chance that it was just luck, like total
Yeah.
luck.
Well, that
Stumble
really,
across it.
I have no idea why anyone likes Undertale.
Yeah, it's honestly, I think
Can't fucking figure it out. I tried, I bought it, I played it, I asked a bunch of people. I had a lot of anxiety about it, really, because it came out and the whole world was just like completely freaking the fuck out about it, and everyone I knew said it was great, and I'd never seen anyone like unanimously agree on anything before. So, like, I get it, and I play the game. It's so fucking bad. So bad. Every part of it. Like,
Well-
the dialogue's awful, the characters are awful, the combat's awful, the art is bad. I don't fucking get it. And I still don't get it. So I thought, like, maybe there's something wrong with me, like,
well,
emotionally, because everyone says that it's an emotional game and you get tied to the characters and stuff. So,
I will definitely say, like, there's a certain, I don't know, there's something that just feels like totally innocent about it, and it just feels like something totally new and different.
to me, it doesn't feel different because it's doing the opposite of tropes, basically, from start to finish.
Sure.
And if you're just doing the opposite, like the exact opposite of something that's already established, that's not new, you know what I mean? That's not different, really, because it's the only, I don't know. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I don't know. I know what I'm trying to say, but I'm retarded.
Well, you either,
So-
I mean, with a game like that, though, one of the biggest problems with it is that if you don't like it, you better not ever say that.
Oh, yeah, I don't even talk about it.
Because you're in trouble. I mean, it's like a social issue now. If you don't like Undertale,
Yeah.
you're a real problematic person if you don't like
Oh,
Undertale.
for sure problematic.
Uh,
If nothing else, you're problematic.
I mean, I liked it. I played it on the stream. I basically beat it in one stream,
Oh yeah.
and
It's
I just killed everybody because I didn't know, you know.
yeah. And
Uh,
I've been told like
it's
that it's not too long and I should just muscle through it and like get to the meat of the story because I guess I never really got there. I got a few hours in like past the first dating mini game
yeah.
and
I
I just fucking couldn't do it anymore.
see. I killed him, so
Oh, good.
I didn't even realize. But then, honestly, the reason why I like the game has nothing to do with the experience of playing it, because I then went back and I watched what happens, with the other two methods, like the genocide and the pacifist,
Oh yeah.
and the difference in the game with those two different things. I mean, it's like a totally different feel. With a genocide run,
Hmm.
it legitimately feels like you're the bad guy. It feels like a horror game and you're Jason.
Oh yeah.
And you go to shops and they're empty, uh, and everybody's fled the
It's just really
cities.
weird.
It's like totally just and the soundtrack does an excellent job of conveying exactly what kind of mood the game is supposed to be
Well,
having.
see, that's the kind of shit that I never even knew existed or never had the chance to experience
Yeah, you
because
just got to look at YouTube stuff because
yeah, as much as I played, it was just like hacky jokes and bad dialogue and not really much gameplay.
conveniently shaped lamps.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of. I know there was one part that made me laugh. Oh, okay. So yeah, the one thing that I loved, and this is the only nice thing I've ever said about Undertale, um, when you're going through the puzzles with Sans and Papyrus, and you get to the one that's like a bunch of different colored tiles.
Yeah, and then it randomizes to like the easiest possible path.
Well, when they're describing it to you, when they're describing the rules, and they start out really simple, and like I'm paying close attention because
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, I can solve this puzzle, and they're like, you can stand on blue ones, but not when they're next to red ones. But red ones have this in it, and you can't stand next to green ones. And I was like, okay, that's a couple rules, and then they just keep
it just
fucking
keeps going
piling,
and going.
and it's hysterical. But the
Yeah.
rest of it is just completely flat, and I can't deal with it at all.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta, at some point, you gotta check out what you missed, but it's a much more enjoyable experience the second time through, from what I hear. I just don't have the time or the patience. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I I don't know why this comparison always gets made, but I even find myself doing it, and I think maybe it's just because it's like two indie sweetheart RPGs. Lisa, have you played Lisa?
I haven't, and I've heard people talk about it all the
Okay.
time.
Yeah. Lisa's like the best game. The like if Undertale has like the best writing and story and feeling and stuff, Lisa has all that plus the best gameplay. And like
Yeah,
the best combat system and the most interesting like
and,
setting.
and that actually was RPG Maker.
Was it?
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. Even though I thought Undertale was, that actually was Game Maker, but Lisa was RPG Maker.
Oh, I fucking love Lisa so much.
Yeah, and both of those games, I mean, even if Undertale only did as well as Lisa, they both did pretty well.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I don't know how well Lisa did, but it definitely wasn't as good as Undertale.
well, no, that's
No.
that would be crazy. But I think
Yeah.
it's almost like because Undertale did well, I would almost assume that Lisa is going to start selling copies because it's kind of the same. Like Lisa's art,
Oh yeah, because it gets brought up so
yeah,
much.
Lisa's art is like far superior. But
I don't know. I think they're both pretty fucking ugly games.
yeah, but
But
one I feel like is deliberately ugly by a person who's talented, and one I feel is just the best that they could do. I think
oh,
there's a difference when
maybe.
you look at it.
And I think Lisa is
100K copies, so pretty good.
well, Steam Spy says 160 or 160,000 owners.
I mean, that's fucking pretty good.
Yeah, for Lisa.
Yeah,
But so the thing I like about Lisa is the tone of it, and it's so fucking heavy and just dark and completely deranged
yeah,
from start to finish. And like one of the mechanics, it does have that like neutral good bad ending set up.
Yeah.
But what it is you take this drug called joy, and basically your character's a drug addict. And when you go through joy withdrawals, you do severely reduce damage in combat, and it has all kinds of other negative effects. So you're actually incentivized to use joy. But the good bad endings and stuff like that are all tied to playing through the game without taking any drugs or playing through it while taking them. And then the moral choices in that game are the heaviest I've seen in an RPG, I think, because it's always stuff like, okay, do you want us to kill this party member forever, or we'll cut off one of your arms?
Yeah. So you decide if
And
you
it's like,
like
what the
yourself more
fuck?
than them.
Yeah, there's a scene where this guy threatens to, because the story is, it's like the post-apocalypse in Kansas, and there's only one girl, and everyone else is men, and they're all like mutants or like it's fucking crazy, right?
uh,
So they find the girl, and she's like 12 or 13, and there's a scene in it where they're threatening to they either say they're gonna chop off your arm or chop off one of her nipples, and
uh,
just like I really wasn't expecting it. And in the current climate of games, how that all goes, like women are sacred, don't ever say anything bad about women ever. They're like, no, fuck you. Here's a 13-year-old girl, and we're gonna cut one of her nipples off. So it was kind of it hit a little harder, maybe, considering the everything that's going on.
well, and also the aesthetic. I mean, it
Yeah,
doesn't look like. I mean, and you're seeing like you look at the Call of Duty franchise, and it's almost like they took a race to the bottom as far as like, let's make this as fucked up as possible, and then they hit that bottom, and they were like, okay, now what?
oh,
Uh,
called like the Call of Duty shock moments that they try to throw in every game now.
yeah, like the game starts off with you murdering people in an airport, and you're just like, why? Like, so
Yeah,
I think on the one hand, you're like, okay, let's just have games be fun for a while, and I think Splatoon and stuff like that they do well because it's like they're not trying
yeah.
to do that. Uh,
That's kind of crazy. I was just thinking about this the other day that like we had a whole generation, this the seventh generation of consoles and shit, just like grim dark shooter blood gore games.
yeah,
And now it's like, can we just have fun again, please?
yeah, and that's the thing is like, yeah, I talked about this with Zach. My mom bought me a Wii U, and
Oh,
I hadn't had a new game console in many years, and I didn't ask for it. But playing the Wii and playing games by Nintendo that are just toys, it's like
mm,
this is a game made to have fun, as opposed
right.
to this is a game where you're taking out your teenage angst on people. Like I'm at a stage in my
Right.
life where I no longer care about poning noobs. Like that's
Oh, I
those
do
days are
still.
over.
So I can't. I
Uh,
bought a Wii U and Splatoon, and all I could think like, this matchmaking sucks. Like this is so imbalanced. And like I was just so mad because we established what makes a good online shooter over the last decade, and they're like, "Fuck you!" Like they don't use any of it.
we're Nintendo, so we do
Yeah.
things a little differently.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I love the console. I think it's such a clever device. I mean, to have the screen go to your controller whenever you walk out of the room, and you don't have to have it don't have to have the TV on at all. It's such a cool idea uh, to
Yeah.
have like both a handheld and a console combined.
I
But
had it for a couple months and then gave it to my cousins, who
yeah,
are like 8 and 12, I think.
which is the target age.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I bought like Smash Brothers and Super Mario 3D World,
Yeah,
yeah, and Splatoon, and all of them were just like soft and smooth around the edges,
yeah,
and just they kept doing weird shit that I don't think modern games should do. Like in Mario, every time you finish a level, the game saves without you being able to move or do anything, and it tells you it's saving, and then it like pops up and says that it's saved, and you have to click OK before you can get back to the fucking game.
yeah. They interrupt the
Yeah,
flow, which is something nobody does because you have multiple processes. You don't have to run the save process
right.
on the main thread anymore. Uh,
I
but
just I just think like Nintendo doesn't give a shit. Like they don't care about
They
game
don't.
design outside of Nintendo. So like, yeah, I know what those guys did, and I know that's how it's been done, but fuck them, I did it this way instead.
Yeah, and Mario Kart hasn't changed since Super Nintendo at all. And it's still one of the most like potentially infuriating games of all time. where the blue shell was invented because Nintendo hates winners.
Right. Anyone but them.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, my wife and I enjoyed it. She doesn't play games, and I think I prefer that. but she'll play the Wii U because it's not the same. Uh,
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I like regular video games so much that I cannot enjoy the Wii U at all. Like that fucking controller. Like I just can't deal with that thing.
yeah. Well, it's whatever.
Like, well, also, like this has been the only thing I've touched in a year. And I
Yeah.
have like five of them all plugged in and all kinds of goofy shit from development. So
So you're doing all your debugging with just the Xbox input. How does GameMaker deal with alternate controllers? Like, do they have just universal mapping, or do they try
I
and?
I have no idea.
Oh, so you might run into some issues with that.
Yeah. I know it works with PlayStation 3 controllers, which have some really weird driver. So I would assume that it works with just controllers, right? Like
Yeah.
because the input for it and stuff isn't Xbox specific. It's just like because if it was, then their commands would be like the for A, right? For this button, it's GP underscore face one.
Yeah.
So if it was Xbox only, I feel like it would be GP underscore A or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's not the case. I think my PlayStation 3 arcade stick works, and Sandy Gordon was trying to test it the other day, and his computer well, Kerfuffle thought that his tablet was controller 2, and I don't know why.
Well, it's an alternative input, so I guess that makes sense. I had let's see, my first gamepad probably wouldn't work because it was a serial port, and it
Oh,
was before all the standards were introduced. It was called a Gravis gamepad, and you could probably Google it, but it was like one of the three that you could buy,
yeah, it probably has to be USB.
and that was before CD-ROMs like were really popular with
Oh
computers. So.
shit. I used to have one of these controllers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had the Pro though, because the one that looked like the PlayStation controller.
So that was probably many generations later. I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
know if
looking at it
Gravis
now.
exists still,
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't.
but I mean, I'm sure they made their money. But it's like when I talk about the olden days, I talk about that, and I talk about my Voodoo 2 video card, which is like my favorite
Mm.
video card ever. Uh, but they just don't make them the same anymore.
I don't know. I kind of feel like the Xbox 360 controller, other than the D-pad, is the probably the best gamepad.
You think?
Yeah, I think it just fits really well. I don't know.
I have a Logitech, whatever doodle machine. It doesn't really conform to any exact design aesthetic. It's almost like a hybrid between the PS4 and the Xbox.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
but it's got all the same buttons. I mean, it seems like they've been normalized enough to where you're not going to get into that many issues. But there are people that sit there with their old like flight sticks, so you never know exactly what you're going to have to
Yeah.
design for.
Someone just asked me if about the DualShock 4, and I know you have to have some kind of like goofy ass driver to even get it to work in the first place. So I have no idea if that works, but I should be getting a PlayStation 4 dev kit, and then I'll figure it out then, I guess.
Yeah, I almost miss when gamepads had like two buttons, and so you could do like one button, the other button, or both buttons at the same time. And
Mm.
that was like it.
Yeah, it's really hard to design around a gamepad because personally, I feel like I've got all these extra buttons,
Yeah.
so I got to stick something on them. So Kerfuffle actually uses three face buttons. It uses X, A, and B, and it uses all four shoulder buttons. But the shoulder buttons are like the triggers are shortcuts for up attack and down attack. So that way you don't have to um,
It's like an old school Street Fighter type mapping. I
yeah,
think.
yeah, and then the bumpers are left dash and right dash. But I've been talking to Dan Fornes, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, the Rivals of Aether guy, and he was playing Kurfuffle, and he's like, "Why the fuck isn't your dash button just Y?
It's because you
Like
got the
why?"
extra button available.
And it's like, because I didn't think of that. The only reason it's not is because I didn't consider it.
So when we think back to why your game failed,
Right.
it'll be because
Yeah.
you didn't know. I mean, honestly, if you don't have some
It's gonna
sort
be
of,
Y. I'm gonna put it on. Well, actually, I'm gonna put it on B, so that way you can jump and dash easier.
I think you'd be remiss to not just have some sort of an options menu where you map your own buttons
Oh
however
yeah,
you
yeah,
want
yeah,
them.
yeah. I'm definitely gonna do that. But the current mechanic is like right bumper dashes to the right, left bumper dashes to the left.
Oh yeah, I would
And
almost prefer just like a double tap then at that point.
yeah, see, me too. I think double tap would be really good, especially for keyboard players,
Yeah,
because that removes two buttons from the fucking keyboard, and it's already impossible to play on a keyboard.
yeah. Well,
So,
and I'm running into an issue because for a long time and you jacked with me about this. I implemented a targeting system because I wanted to be able to have the game playable on a controller, and
oh yeah,
so then I got rid of it again because skill shot is just more fun.
yeah. I really thought that that was a super bad idea.
Yeah, but the problem is, it's only playable with a mouse, and a lot of people don't want to game with a mouse.
Well, I don't know, man. If you think about it, if both people have a controller, it's totally fair.
It is fair, and people point to Nuclear Throne. You know, you could play that with a controller apparently.
Yeah,
Uh,
you can.
yeah,
It can be
but it would be
in that a
foolish.
controller works.
And you have automatic weapons as opposed to a single throw of a dodgeball, which is like pivotal whether or
Right.
not
Yeah.
you hit it. So I'm thinking when I port to consoles, I'll probably go back to a loose targeting system just for those people because so much of the game is still dodging and
Yeah.
timing things and timing catches and everything. It doesn't really have to be all about aiming your line correctly.
hmm
But it's something that's going to probably get worked out in early access, which I am going to do. I don't know how you feel about that.
I I don't know, man. I personally don't like early access or Patreon or Kickstarter or anything because it all kind of feels a little like begging for money,
Yeah,
sort of, and it just doesn't really sit right with me. But in my situation, the way I'm developing Kerfuffle, it's just me. It's a fucking four-player game. Early access might be a good idea.
well, here's what I think, and you can see if I change your mind at all.
Okay.
But the main reason I want to go into early access is because I have no idea what the feedback is going to be. I don't know if there's a demand for this. If it blows up out of control, I want to have the ability to say, okay, well, the scope of the game just got bigger,
Right.
because there are more people that want to play it. But if it just totally flops and people think it's shitty, I don't want to devote like a large portion of my life to finishing a game that I know isn't going to do well.
Yeah, I guess.
So I don't anticipate getting like Nuclear Throne numbers as far as early access sales. That would be great, and if I
Oh,
did,
yeah,
then
yeah.
I would probably do things like MMOify the lobby to allow people to like set up teams, kind of like Fantasy Star Online used to be,
Oh, right.
and
Yeah.
because that wouldn't be really hard. It's just I don't want to host dedicated servers for a game if only 5 people are going to play it.
hmm
So it's all just a way to do like it's like a litmus test to figure out if it's shitty or not.
Right. I kind of feel that way about Kerfuffle too. Like I know it's not going to be, and I to use a game rating system just for the sake of ease, right? I know it's not going to be a 10 out of 10. I know it's not because that's not the kind of game that it is. That genre of game that I'm making doesn't get those scores.
Yeah, but you just
So,
never know. I mean,
right.
like there a time can come when you release where it's like the perfect time where everybody's wanting that kind of game.
Well, my problem now is that Towerfall happened and everyone thought, well, fuck it, we'll just make a Towerfall clone and then everyone tried to, and everyone failed. And there's a bunch of these local multiplayer fighting games out there that no one wants to play, but I'll have online.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that'll help a lot. And I'm also going to have a bunch of like other game modes in it rather than just killing each other because I think that can get pretty boring. So we've got like a tug of war mode, which is like payload in Team Fortress 2.
Yeah.
We have a King of the Hill, an oddball mode, uh, money match mode, which is everyone has coins on them and you hit them and they drop money and you pick it up and whoever has the most wins. Deathmatch, team deathmatch, free for all, that good stuff. And
Yeah.
the cool thing about it is that the players will be able to change any of these settings however they want.
I will say, networking is smart. It's smart to not ignore that. Uh, Especially, you look at Towerfall. That was made in a very different time, very different
Right.
landscape, where people didn't really have preconceived notions about what games were supposed to be like. Duck Game has outsold Towerfall.
Has it really?
Yeah, so, pretty significantly. And
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's good news. I love Duck Game.
well, and it's like it was a failure until they put networking in. And then like because apparently it had been on Ouya for like a year, but I mean
Oh,
that's almost a
yeah.
self
Who
fulfilling
gives a
prophecy.
fuck?
Yeah, but Adult Swim was like, okay, well we'll pay you money uh, to make it networked, and so
Right.
they did that, and now it has just exploded. I think it's almost 200,000 sales.
Yeah, I just looked at it on Steam Spy. But I know Towerfall has done extremely well on the PlayStation 4.
Oh, has it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
extremely well.
I imagine that Duck Game's probably going to have the same kind of thing because they have the that's the kind of game that you play a commercial during Adult Swim, and those types of people will want to play it.
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah.
Towerfall, I don't think would have that necessarily.
Yeah, like for some reason Duck Game is just complete chaos
Yeah.
and it's arguably not competitive at all. You know what I mean?
Because who cares?
Yeah, and
Uh,
and for me, like I can't play a game like Duck Game all the time because it is kind of who cares? It was fun. We all got a shotgun and no one really wins. We all had fun. Like fuck that. I need to win.
yeah.
Like I gotta play a game where someone is the winner. I have to.
Right, but it's a novelty. It's something you play with your friends for fun. It's not something that you play in a
Right.
tournament for money. Like,
Yeah, I don't care.
it
I
doesn't
don't.
really matter. But having a dedicated quack button, I think, was just a masterstroke.
Oh, for sure. Oh my God. Because it basically makes taunting a key
Oh,
mechanic.
it's great. It's
Yeah.
it's great. And I didn't actually play it. I watched the Game Grumps play it, uh, and just like
Oh,
the pain and agony that comes from like a successfully timed quack.
right.
It's just
It's
substantial.
devastating.
It's like I won. Now I'm gonna wait exactly 1.3 seconds, and then like
Yeah.
everybody just falls out of their chair.
Yeah. And I hate myself every day that Kerfuffle doesn't have a quack button.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can figure out your
Eh,
own thing, but they
Like,
have all kinds of novelty things. Like the announcer. There are many opportunities to introduce your personality, and that's
I
something that
think,
people should be doing. I think.
yeah, I think we're going to have an announcer because Kerfuffle actually has some super deep lore, and the announcer is a big part of it.
You got your sushi chef guy who ended up on planet whatever machine.
Right. Which is um, which is actually Jiro from Jiro Dreams of Sushi.
Oh,
That's him. He's in Kerfuffle,
I don't even know
but
what that is.
oh, it's a really good documentary about this like 80-year-old man who's been making sushi in Japan for a very long time.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so I was just like, no, put him in the game, but he's like 30 years old and he was abducted by aliens or whatever. So we have a bunch of these really weird characters, but the game is kind of built around more competitive and intense moments.
Yeah.
Like rather than, oh, I got the shotgun and killed two people and myself.
Yeah.
So Duck Game is genius because it's all about making people laugh and anyone being able to pick it up and just laugh their ass off. And Kerfuffle's more about like, um, yeah, like just really intense clutch moments or smart plays and like baiting people out and outplaying. It's I wanted to make it as close to like a Street Fighter or Guilty Gear as I could without having the health system.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like one touch and you die, but there's a lot of tools involved. So like your character's movement speeds are different between each character. Their attack range is different. The attack speed is different. The hitbox is different. The utility of the attack is different. Um,
Yeah, so
when
the ceiling is much higher, but you can get into it pretty quickly just because I mean there's always going to be a luck
yeah,
component when you're talking about one shot kind of a game. But
right,
if you
right.
understand all the mechanics, you have an advantage.
And you can actually increase the health if you wanted to. So
Okay.
so one shot is kind of the core, and that's what we're balancing it around now. But for a while, I've been playing with additional health. And what you do is when you have extra health and you get hit and knocked away, after you collide with a surface, like a wall, ceiling, or a floor, you can roll out of being stunned from that hit, and your roll is invincible. So you can roll forwards, backwards, or in place. So it becomes a mind game like, let's say I hit you into a wall, and then, I have to guess which way you're going to roll based on the environment, which could be full of hazards or other players, and then like try to catch you with another hit. Or like some hits, like I can knock you up into the air, and then I can maybe juggle you before you ever get a chance to roll out of it. So I'm just trying to stuff as much depth in there as I can,
Yeah.
but still keep it really simple and let people play that kind of game if they want to play it.
Yeah. I only have one problem with that kind of game is that I typically hate the high level players of that kind of game. Like I don't want to make
Yeah.
something for those people because they come up with terminology and it's like, eh.
Oh yeah, like fucking Smash players. I swear to God, dude. Those people and their stupid terms. Like they call recovery lag. So
Yeah.
like it's fighting games have existed for a long time, and the way attacks work has always been your startup frames, your active frames, and your recovery frames. Startup is me like pulling my fist back. Fucking active is my fist out here that can hit you, and recovery is how long it takes me to get back to normal. No, fuck these people. Smash people with their startup lag and their ending lag and landing lag and all this other dumb shit that
Because
does.
it's Nintendo people. It's the same deal.
Yeah, 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 that's true. I guess I shouldn't care about what Nintendo people say.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we're just gonna call it something different. We're gonna make a controller that's a wand. I mean, just
Yeah,
don't even
like
worry about it.
we have dash dancing and wave dashing and shield canceling and
Horse
whatever.
facing and
Yeah,
donkey
whatever the fuck.
punching.
Right, but no teabagging, not
No,
not on Nintendo consoles,
no, just H
because that's a very real form of very real rape.
of very real mouths.
Right, that's absolutely 100% something people should care about and be offended by.
Oh man, every time I think about it, I just get this chill up my leg. Like I will have my revenge.
Like one day I'll dip my nuts on someone else,
Yes,
and you just better pray it's not you.
I know. As a person who's been married for a while, that's not really a thing outside of video games that you
Oh,
should explore.
yeah, probably not. That doesn't seem too safe.
I mean, what's the point anyway? Uh,
Uh, Domination, I guess.
yeah, yeah. I
In case she forgets who brings home the money.
well, I can tell. In talking to you about what you're doing, I feel like you're doing things the right way because I could tell you think a lot about what you're doing, and it's a detriment, but it also makes sure that when you do have something done, it's going to be something that has fewer massive holes in it. Hopefully.
Maybe. I don't
Uh,
know, that first version.
but I
Like
think you
that
can.
was
Yeah, I think you can tell the difference between a person who makes a game just because I want to make a fun game, and a person who makes a game that's like, here's the theory behind why this game is fun, and then I'm
right.
going to implement these theories. And I think the latter probably more likely to be successful. Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe.
if your theory is correct.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which it tends to be if you do devote time and mental resources to doing that.
Right. And I think it's I know this is always said, but playtesting is beyond important. Because I know there's plenty of people who are like, no, I made a game and it's fun, and I think it's fun, and I'm gonna release it. Oh God, it's awful. No one likes it, but me.
My game is the shit, and if you don't like it, then there's something wrong with
Right.
with
Oh,
the world.
you don't like my game? Well, let's see your fucking game then, buddy.
I'm gonna make
Not referencing anything in particular.
no, no, or like I'm gonna make a game about being a maid from the first person. What do you
Oh,
mean nobody wants to do that?
yeah. What? What are you talking about? Well, then everyone should die
Yeah,
and also
fuck,
pay for our next game.
fuck gamers. I quit forever, but also I'm not really quitting ever.
Yeah.
So,
I
well,
hope everyone dies and gamers are fucking awful. By the way, our new game is coming
people
out. It'd be really great if you could pay money for it.
low information viewers are very confused by everything that's being said right now.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh man, nobody
Are
said
we?
that about Harvest Moon.
No.
Harvest
Well,
Moon.
okay, no, I believe that. Someone probably did say, "Who wants to make a game about farming?" And they were like, but you can also fuck people, I guess." And they were like, "All right, sold.
Yeah, yeah. You
You can
just
go into the village and fuck a guy if you want to."
it's pretty much like the most realistic dating sim. You every day. I mean, you're first of all you're an entrepreneur. Everybody loves that.
Right. Yep.
And then every day on your way out the door, you just grab some random piece of shit off the ground and give it to some girl.
Or or much like the real world, you take wine to Karen every day until she's your wife.
Yes.
That's
Well,
what I did every time.
wine is convincing. I mean, that's a real thing that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, how long is this thing going on? Are we at our
I don't know. It's been going on for an hour. I mean,
uh
you could pull out whenever you want. I'm
listen, I know I can do that, but I lack the willpower sometimes.
Jesus effing B. Well, my wife's pregnant, so I don't have to worry about that.
You have the
Uh,
same problem I have then.
it was actually intentional. I mean, people are shocked to hear that.
Oh,
I have intentionally impregnated a woman twice.
wait, the first one was on purpose too?
Yeah, we planned it for years.
What?
Yeah, we
How
were
old are you?
30.
30. You're 4 years older than me.
I'm 30. Yeah, and
No, okay, in like a month you'll be 3 years older than me.
I was basically like, okay, well, what year was it? I think we were just saying like 2014 or 2013, maybe, was the year we were gonna have kids, and that's when we started. But
That
this is the
doesn't make
last
any
one.
sense.
We had the girl, the next one's a boy, and we're done.
Yeah.
We've
Well,
replaced ourselves.
first of all, it's not up to you to assign this baby a gender.
Wait. I
I don't
mean, I mean
I
they
don't know, that's
they
what people say.
they come
I don't
out with the Dweedle Bopper or the what's it,
right.
and that's pretty much what you call them until they tell you otherwise. Uh, I'm not gonna get into gender politics.
I know, I'm just being an asshole.
It's fine. I'm thoroughly confused.
It's okay.
As a 30-year-old Texan, because
Well,
I didn't grow up around it. So
I'm just confused because you're 3 years older than me, and I don't even know what my shoe size is half the time. Like, and you're planning of having babies. Like, I'm kind of terrified at the direction my life may take in the next 3 years. But if I end up with two kids, I'll know that I fucked up somewhere.
well, you've been with the same person for a while, right?
Yeah, like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, women start putting the pressure on about stuff like that, even if they didn't have any interest before. Uh,
Ugh.
there's a very real biological clock, and I think at a
Listen,
certain point,
when I start making that indie dollar, then it might not be such a problem. Can you imagine if indie devs were like fucking NBA players and they all have 9 kids from different women?
Oh my god.
You
Yeah,
believe that?
you
We
gotta
just have to
wonder.
keep making games to fucking support them.
Yeah, I'm always shocked when I see somebody that I know has made a game and made millions of dollars, and then you see who they're with, and it's still the same person. Like, come
Oh
on, you
yeah,
you can do better now. You don't
yeah.
have,
I would up
you
like
don't have to upgrade that shit.
done, done.
Like
Sorry.
like you gotta wonder what kind of interesting things Notch is doing on the weekends.
Oh yeah, dude. If I make $100, like I'm changing it up. Like
I got a paycheck. Get
yeah,
out of here,
exactly.
bitch.
Yeah, like for real, dude. If I make enough money to pay off my car loan, fuck it.
It's over. It's
Yeah,
if you didn't need to bum rides, you would not be in a monogamous relationship.
right. Well, if I didn't need that rent money,
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? Like,
Oh,
look,
sure. I mean, it's a much more convenient roommate when you don't even have to have two rooms,
yeah, that's true.
just the one.
And you get to put your dilly bopper in or what's it,
Sometimes when she lets you.
or vice versa.
Oh gosh.
Exactly.
Uh,
What is this podcast about?
honestly, I don't care. I mean, this is the most fun I've had since we started. Uh,
Oh yeah, this is the most fun I've had ever, I think.
but so what do you think about Star Wars?
Um, the new movie was pretty good.
Yeah, I think pretty good is a good assessment.
Yeah, I'm not super into Star Wars, but I like the new movie. I thought it was a little ADD at the start there. There was just like really short scenes, rapid fire, you know?
Yeah.
Like the first half of the movie went really quick. And it had to or whatever, but that's really the only negative thing or critique I have about it.
Yeah, I actually, I'm right on the border of people that are like super into Star Wars and then people that are younger than me that have just never seen any of them.
Hmm.
My wife had never seen any Star Wars. So I was like, okay, well, we're going to watch, 4, 5, and 6 before we go see the new movie. And she was super resistant. Like, just,
Oh
it,
yeah, it's weird
it's
too.
like as much as I don't want to watch Harry Potter, that's how much she didn't want to watch Star Wars. But
Oh, does she like Harry Potter?
no, but I've had
Oh.
people try and convince me that I should. Like,
Oh no, you shouldn't.
aren't these children's movies? But
Yeah, you shouldn't.
I grew up with Star Wars, and even more so, my parents grew up with Star Wars, and I think if you get too into it, you're not going to like it. There's a lot that's going on where they're trying to appease people, and
Oh yeah, there's a lot of throwbacks.
that's I mean it's basically just we're starting over because George Lucas is out of his fucking mind. Like
Right.
look
Well,
at the
what
damage he caused. Let's try
you
and uncause it.
you got to pull the plug on people, you know?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
I mean, between him and Spielberg, they're just fucking everything up. Like my whole childhood.
What has Spielberg even done lately?
I don't know. Besides, fuck shit up. Didn't they mess with Indiana Jones or something?
Oh yeah, it
Yeah.
was an awful movie.
They just gotta stop. Like
Yeah.
guys.
No, it was really bad. But no, my girlfriend has never seen Star Wars, has absolutely no interest in it whatsoever. Didn't want to go see the new one with me at all.
Did she
So
though?
wait. No.
Oh really?
Yeah, I had to find someone else to go with.
I mean, I was impressed. It's pretty good as a self perpetuating storyline. I bet you could enjoy it without having seen the old ones.
Oh yeah, I don't think she'd have to see the old ones at all. But just has no interest in it whatsoever and extremely resistant to any kind of like boy stuff.
Boy stuff.
Yeah, or like stupid nerd shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know
So
what you mean.
so yeah, she's like, I don't want to be a part of your stupid nerd shit because it's stupid nerd shit. It's like, all right, whatever. It's
Yeah.
fucking dope. The whole world likes it, so I don't know what to tell you.
Well, if you took her, she'd be like, "Who's that? What did he say?" The whole time, like, I can't
Yeah,
enjoy movies.
or it would just be like this the whole time.
Oh God, that's even worse. Because then you have to fight off the people that are coming to like pound her face in for being
Yeah,
disrespectful.
fuck it. I'm not fighting for anybody.
I
I'm a
watched
small
it.
guy. Like, if you pick a fight, you're on your own.
I watched it in a theater that had recliners. It was fucking awesome.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, it was like cushy ass recliners. We were like leaning back, almost flat. It
Was
was
it, can you imagine like a theater where it just lays down and it's like a planetarium, the fucking screen is on the ceiling?
yeah. I mean,
I think I just had the best idea ever.
well, they have those IMAX theaters. I don't know if you've ever been to one of those, but it's kind of a similar thing. It like wraps around you.
Oh,
But
I've been to one and it was just really tall.
yeah, I mean they're getting better and better. But I think movie theaters are their days are numbered. You know, they're already taking steps in order to try and compete. But people don't want to go watch shit somewhere else anymore. They'd rather just.
Yeah.
We all have giant TVs now. I mean, the poorest people in America have like 60-inch TVs.
Yeah. We have giant TVs and bigger asses and
Yeah.
we're not moving either of them. So,
What's the point? I mean, if I can enjoy it, the entire vision of my eyes
yeah.
is covered in
Exactly.
TV. It's not better or worse.
Yeah, exactly. If all I can see is TV, then it doesn't matter where it is.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Uh, I don't make the rules, but I
No,
did.
I don't know.
I bought my TV that I'm using, which is I think like a 68 inch. I bought it with Best Buy gift cards that I had saved up. I just found a stash of them. My mom brought over a box of my old shit. And I was like, oh my god, I have all these Best Buy gift cards.
I have $3,000 in Best
Yeah,
Buy gift cards.
yeah, no, it was over 1,000,
Jesus.
and it was a Black Friday, so I was like, one gift card, two gift cards. It was like 70 gift cards, and I couldn't fit it in my car, so I had to call somebody.
That's hilarious. I think mine's like 46 inches, something like that.
Yeah,
Cannot tell you the last time I used it. I have no idea.
you just use the PC.
Yeah, like I don't watch TV. I don't have cable. Um, my PlayStation 4 is hooked up to the monitor that's right in front of me. Like I don't do any of the shit on the TV, and it's probably because uh, I gave you a quick tour of my piece of shit apartment.
All right.
Um,
Everybody on the stream starts furiously masturbating.
well, my girlfriend's asleep on the couch behind me, but whatever.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I can't see it in real time. Wait, hold on. I gotta get on Skype. I gotta get my Skype.
You
So I can
got
see. Okay.
drop tile ceilings.
Oh yeah.
FTW.
Some of them are leaking. There's like a couch and a chair back there. She's asleep.
You
And
start
then
whispering now. It's fucking too
yeah,
late, man.
there's my goddamn TV. My living room sucks. It's just this like one room. It's a very small apartment, really,
Yeah. Well,
but it's $500 a month, so whatever.
I'm in my office. It's probably about the same size.
Yeah. Well, does your office have a bedroom in the back that has a mouse in it somewhere?
My office is connected to a hallway that goes to two bedrooms where a tiny baby is sleeping in one. And but
I have a corgi sleeping on the floor about 5 feet away from me.
nice. People always comment about the diploma behind my head in the background, like, "Oh, you have a college degree?" Yeah, it's not related to anything I'm doing or talking
Yeah,
about. So,
yeah, it's not mine.
I have a degree in psychology.
Oh yeah, that's I forgot about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I use it all the time.
Yeah. So how was school? Definitely worth it then?
Yeah, man. Well,
Definitely.
I will say,
Got your receipt on the wall back there?
yeah, if your parents can send you to college, you should definitely go because it's fun.
Oh.
But if they can't, you're never gonna earn back the money that it costs unless you're like going to be a lawyer or a doctor where you have to go to college.
Yeah,
Uh,
I didn't go because my parents decided not to file taxes for like 2 years.
whoops.
So yeah, so financial aid was like, fuck you.
Well, I mean, and this might be relevant to you or not, but like when we hire people, college degree is the last thing that you worry about. You say, "What have you done? Let me see it." You know,
Yeah, that's
if
kind of
you
how my job was too
if
when
you
I got
write
hired.
yeah, if you write code, let's see the code. If you've built websites, let's see the websites, and that is
Hmm.
just infinitely more important than
Right.
having a computer science degree, because a computer science degree pretty much just teaches you whatever that. I mean, like
Whatever that teacher taught you.
if the professor was really that good, again, professors don't make enough to teach computer science.
Yeah, they can make more just doing it.
Yeah, but I'm sure a lot of them do anyway. It's
Yeah.
just it's just a thing that's always been interesting to me because you always get these old professors that like I have an uncle that got his thesis on punch cards
What?
for programming. He was a
Jesus.
computer science doctorate, and his thesis was all punch cards, and it was like thousands and thousands of cards. And the first time he did it, somebody like sneezed or elbowed it, and they all got knocked out of order, and he had to start all over
Oh my God.
because they didn't have them numbered or whatever. They didn't have the technology to number cards at that time.
Didn't have a fucking pencil.
This is a
One, two.
this is a great uncle. It's not actually an uncle, so
Uh,
it's like
he doesn't sound that great.
no,
Fucking number your cards,
it's
homeboy.
cool as
Like,
shit. He introduced me to Oregon Trail. They had an Atari. I mean, that was fucking awesome.
oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
But yeah, it's just interesting to see how fast things are changing.
Yeah. And then like 2 days after that, that technology was obsolete, and everyone had iPhones and Google Glass and stuff. And
The day the internet came out was the day that all current technology basically took a giant shit on the ground.
yeah, it just died forever.
Yeah, you're
Current
done.
tech, current technology from now till the end of time is useless.
Because then some guy in Russia is like reading about science that he had never been exposed to, and he's like, "Holy shit!
He's like, oh yeah, this makes perfect sense. But what they should have done was,
Why am I doing it with radishes when I could be doing it?"
so I saw a tweet the other day, and it was, that famous quote that's like, the Americans spent $1 billion trying to develop a pen that would write in space, and the Russians just used a pencil. So like that's a famous thing, but the tweet was Americans spent $1 billion trying to develop a pen that would write in space, while the Russians just wrote everything in their own shit.
Jesus.
I laughed for a very long time at that
I
joke.
uh, I don't dislike Russians, but I will say that there's a large portion of Russian game developers who really just seem to be trying to make games to trick people into buying them. Like
That's how Russian software development works.
making like complete clones with like a letter different in the title, and like that's the game.
Super Map Boy.
Yeah, yeah.
No, there's a lot. That shit's rampant in countries that suck.
Well, what it reminds me of, and I don't know if you ever had this experience. My mom growing up used to go to Blockbuster and rent a game, on Fridays or whatever when I was a little kid. This
Mhm.
probably doesn't align with everybody, but she would always go with general instructions like, "Oh, I want to play Mega Man." She would go
Mhm.
get something, and it was like Mega Steve.
Oh,
It's like it's like similar,
Mega Guy.
Mega like good fight man. I played. That's how I played Ultraman, which is a serious. Yeah, Ultraman is a real thing, and it's possibly the worst game in the history
I've
of
never
like.
even heard of it.
Yeah, it was like the dumbest, fucking, most terrible game. Look it up after this, because it was really terrible.
What's it on?
I think it was SNES maybe, if not Genesis. But yeah, it was just that's an experience that I had. And it's almost like there's an entire sect of people making games that are trying to trick moms.
Wait, I just looked this up. Isn't Ultraman like a super famous Japanese like gaijin kind of
Oh
dude?
yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
the game is not that. I mean, it's based on that, but
Okay. Well, the way I interpreted it was like some dickhead made
no,
Ultraman
yeah.
instead of Mega Man, and he's like green.
That's what I'm saying. Is they didn't do that back then,
Oh
and
yeah,
the
yeah,
accidents still happen. But it's like there's an entire sect of the economy now, which is based on making like Flappy Burb
yeah.
and and tricking people into buying the wrong games on the Amazon App Store instead of the iPhone or the Android one.
Yeah, didn't someone steal Zach's game? Didn't someone steal Ink
Yeah,
and just fucking called it like Paint?
overpainted or something. Yeah, it was a Russian
Yeah,
guy.
of course it was.
And it was identical. I mean, the guy basically said, "Oh, we were very inspired by what you were doing, so we made a similar genre. Apparently, squares that paint terrain is a genre now." So
Well, Zach is a trendsetter. That's all that
yeah,
means.
yeah, he totally set that trend.
He's like, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take Super Meat Boy and make it bad, and then
or well,
he got
or just make it without graphics.
right.
I mean, it was an interesting. I mean, doing something like invisible terrain was kind of a cool concept.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
I'm just busting his balls if
yeah, I know, I know.
someone's in here.
If somebody's being the bad guy, I have to be the nice guy, which is totally uncomfortable for me. But yeah, no, it's interesting. You know, he sold his source code because he never anticipated selling that game.
Yeah.
So he put it on the Game Maker store, and there were clones instantly.
Oh.
You know, and it's been rampant, but there hadn't been one that was like cloned but added to,
Well.
and so I think that guy was actually successful in making money, as opposed to
Oh.
like you see a GIF that it's like, look at this game I'm working on, and it's clearly just like a ripoff. This was like the first time it was an actual released game that people were playing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's got to be. I mean, it's pretty scary or infuriating. But I will say, like, if you ever have any intention of releasing a commercial product, don't give any part of it away before you release the product.
Yeah,
Like,
and just be prepared for people to clone the shit out of it, and then there's nothing you can do.
yeah. Well, just
But
hope that if a person does clone it, hope it's a person way more famous than you, so that you can ride the laurels of being a victim. I think Vlambeer did that at one point with ridiculous fishing, and
uh,
and
well, they made a Flash game first that was pretty successful.
right, and then somebody made a clone for the phone or whatever before they were able to release it.
Yeah.
But the press that comes with that, the press that comes with being a victim, is
Oh, that worked out so well for them.
so much better than if you just try and make a good game. And
Yeah.
like there was that Tiny Towers game
Well, it
that
does help that Ridiculous Fishing is really good.
yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure it is. I don't play any games,
Yeah.
but
Well, I mean, you should know that the game is really good.
yeah, I believe you.
Okay.
I just I think that it's almost like transparent development is one of the best ways for a small developer to protect themselves. But one of the most dumb things to do if you're not a small developer, because people aren't going to give you press if a small developer rips off a big developer, but they'll definitely give you a lot of press if somebody picks on the little guy.
Hmm. Can you imagine, like some indies just like straight up stealing Call of Duty and putting a different name on it? Like yeah, whatever, fuck you.
Except it's like the Americans are the bad guys.
Isn't that still Call of Duty?
No, I don't know. I guess they
I
got a
don't.
lot more.
The
Uh,
new one has robots in it, and it has an instant kill, like burst fire, perfect accuracy, sniper rifle with thermal scope on it, and fuck that game.
when did Black Ops start meaning like future game robot times?
Uh,
Like they've got like jump
I
jets from
I don't know.
Halo.
I think the second game.
Yeah,
Huh.
I don't really follow it, but it's like at what point is modern warfare no longer modern? It's like postmodern warfare.
Well, what they call it Advanced Warfare now,
Oh,
I
do
think,
they?
is the series. Yeah, yeah, it's Advanced Warfare, and then I think they just figured, well, we can't go backwards because these rocket jumps are dope. So
Well,
Black,
that blows
yeah,
my entire fucking diatribe.
yeah.
Well, they call it advanced warfare. In my head, I'm like, fucking fuck, shit, because I just talk. I don't really think about what I'm saying most of the
Yeah.
time.
Well, there's so many of them, dude. There's the like, it's all Call of Duty, but there's individual. There's Modern Warfare, and then Advanced Warfare, and Black Ops, and I'm sure there's some other ones.
Yeah,
I don't fucking know.
I actually I think the last first person shooter I played for more than like a day was probably Tribes Ascend.
Oh, that used to be so good, and now they're trying to make it good again.
Yeah, I played it when it was I think it was maybe in beta,
Yeah,
but I enjoyed the skiing mechanic. I thought it was like pretty cool.
yeah, Tribes is sick. Like that mechanic has been good for like 15 years or however long that Tribes has been around. But they fucked up Tribes Ascend somehow. I don't remember what. They just released like a bunch of weird stuff.
Well,
it
it was
ended up breaking the
definitely,
game.
yeah, it was definitely pay to win,
Yeah,
which is a
and
big
now
problem.
they realize that that's stupid, and they want to get people back, so they have a skeleton crew at high res working on it now to make it not a piece of shit. So that's pretty cool because that game was unbelievably fun.
Yeah, because it's like when that was coming out, Planet Side 2 was big news.
Hmm.
And I didn't care for that either because it's totally another one of those pay to win kind of like. And there's no victory condition. So it's like pay to play better, but you never really
Yeah,
win. You just keep playing.
I don't know. I don't
So,
really do first person shooters at
yeah,
all. So
we got into, my group of friends got into Heroes of the Storm because Dota was too hardcore. we we
oh
started like when we got into like 2.5 hour Dota matches, we were like, okay, that's probably enough of that.
yeah, I played 1,300 hours of Dota
Yeah,
in
I've got more
a
than that.
year or two, and that's like a real time documentation of my horrific depression. Like, oh, here's where you can see his life just fucking fell apart for 1,300 hours at least.
Well, we played normal Dota for a long time, and then we got bored with it, and then they introduced something called ability draft,
Oh yeah, that was fun.
and that basically renewed our interest for about twice the amount of time because then you're making all these crazy builds, and coming up with stuff like that is one of the reasons I love video games. Having
Mm.
open-ended structures like that and kind of like trying to break the game. So you end up with a lot of really
Yeah,
interesting things.
I was really thinking about this earlier today, I think, is that I really like games where they're kind of fucking they're a little janky
Yeah,
and you have to learn the rules of the game and not in a way that's normal. You know what I mean? It's not like, okay, I know that shooting guys in the head does more damage. It's like I know that if I stand on this corner all fucked up, then this guy can't shoot me, but I can shoot him and it doesn't trigger his AI yet because I'm too far away. So I can do like all this stupid cheese to get through it.
yeah. Well, this
Those are great.
this dates back for me. It dates back to Ultima Online because that was really the first like large scale MMORPG,
Right?
and there was a an issue because they had a Z axis, but it was fake. Just like many things, where if you walked on a bag, a particular type of bag, it would raise you 1Z. So we would stack up bag after bag like in a long ladder next to a home, and then walk
Mm.
over in, drop through the roof of the house, and then take all the stuff from the house. And it was just like shit like that. It's like it sucks if it happens to you, but I think shit like that makes the game better, even though it's like
Yeah,
totally
that's
broken and
hysterical.
stupid.
Yeah.
Like, just coming up with stupid ways to play that nobody's ever seen before. It's almost like you don't even care if you're as good.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the dumb shit that people pull out of Kerfuffle because I know of a couple bugs that are pretty stupid and I just haven't gotten around to fix them yet because they're not game breaking, whatever. They're not priority. Um, but I'm really hoping that people find just the worst possible things that you can do, like completely exploit the game. Like, oh, if you do this and this, you're invincible forever, and you're completely covered in hitboxes with infinite lives.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the Tony Hawk shit where everybody was like, "Oh, look at how terrible this game is, and look at all these stupid bugs," and people are like
Hmm.
flipping all over the place. But it's like
Yeah.
the press from that and how viral it all went probably increased the sales,
Oh yeah.
just
I'm
because it was
sure.
like they introduced all this like terrible physics and people like you jump off the skateboard and run 2 steps and then you fly into the air for no reason.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know.
That's good shit. You know what? We've been doing this for a very long time, haven't
Yeah,
we?
yeah. We should probably should wrap this up
Yeah,
for
because I,
your sake. It seems like
yeah,
you're fading a little bit.
yeah, 2 hours ago I was ready for bed.
Yeah.
So,
All right, man. Well, this has been Mr. Pod. I forget what
yeah,
it's called sometimes.
I didn't even know it had a title.
Yeah, it's Mr. Pod.
Okay, I got you.
I'm Mr. Pod.
Oh,
Maybe,
news to me.
maybe. I don't know.
Oh, I think she's waking up. I gotta go.
Okay, I'll see
It's
you later, man.
bedtime. Okay.
Yeah.